A rare fight-free month got 2023 underway, but moves were being made behind the scenes, not only from an operational point of view, but with the fighters ramping up training. February the 4th, the theatre at Madison Square Garden, New York. Amanda Serrano added to her legacy, landing the undisputed featherweight crown, outpointing the all-action Erika Cruz in a bloody battle in New York. Alicia Baumgardner became undisputed at super featherweight when she floored Elhem Makhaled on the way to a clear-cut win on the scorecards. Richardson Hitchens put in a punch-perfect performance in dominating John Bowser with a landslide win including 2 knockdowns. Skye Nicholson continued her fine transition to the pro game, capturing the WBC silver title against Tanya Alvarez. Ramla Ali picked up her first title in the paid ranks, comfortably beating Avril Mati to claim the IBF Intercontinental Super Bantamweight belt. February the 18th, Motorpoint Arena, Nottingham. A daring voluntary defence by Leigh Wood worked against him when Mauricio Lara landed a big left hook in the 7th round to snatch the WBA World Featherweight title. The rematch clause was quickly activated. Dalton Smith earned another notch on the British super lightweight title, flooring Billy Allington in a one-sided points win. Gary Cully made light work of Wilfredo Flores with a second round highlight reel KO.
Will finish it off, and he does with the follow-up attack.
And Chev Clark went 10 rounds for the first time as a pro, outscoring the game Israel Dufus, while Diego Alberto Ruiz stunned Gamal Yafai to send the former European Super Bantamweight champion into retirement. March the 4th, Polideportivo Juan Milan, Culiacan. Eduardo Sugar Nunez landed what proved to be one of the knockouts of the year, taking out the previously unbeaten Jesus Martin Seca early on. The all-action Angel Fierro continued his rise in the lightweight division, stopping Eduardo Estela in the 7th. March the 11th, the M&S Bank Arena, Liverpool. Injuries to Callum Smith and then Liam Paro paved the way for Diego Pacheco to headline on his first trip to the UK, and the super middleweight sensation certainly made a statement at the top of the bill, demolishing the game-as-ever Jack Cullen in 4 rounds. A knockdown and subsequent ankle injury to Robbie Davis Jr. allowed Dara Foley to capitalise and score a big away win. Liverpool's Peter McGrail barely put a foot or punch wrong against Nicholas Botelli, winning every one of the 10 rounds. Rhiannon Dixon attacked the body of Vicky Wilkinson early, and it paid off in the 6th, earning Dixon a first stoppage win and her first professional title, the Commonwealth Lightweight crown. The Romford Bull Johnny Fisher started his year in style, taking out the durable Italian Alfonso Damiani in 4.
A huge right hand by Johnny Fisher, and the referee waves it off.
March the 18th, Utilita Arena, Newcastle. An early candidate for Domestic Fight of the Year unfolded as Cyrus Pattinson and Chris Jenkins slugged it out for 9 rounds of carnage, ending in favour of the North East man. Sol Dakers ignored taunts in the build-up and proved too classy for the game Robert Ismay in lifting the vacant English heavyweight title. O.P. Price continued his steady rise, stepping up with ease to beat the former world title challenger Thomas Masson on all 3 cards. Pat McCormack showed a mix of skill, composure and power in stopping Dario Socci in the 8th and final round in front of his home fans. And in what was the latest instalment of our Next Gen series, there were routine points wins for Maisie Rose Courtney, Mark Dickinson, Callum French and the Dave Caldwell-trained debutant Muhammad Ali. April the 1st, the O2 Arena in London. Anthony Joshua promised a busy 2023, and it all started for him against the underrated American Jermaine Franklin. And there was to be no April Fool's slip-up as AJ worked his way to a comfortable decision win. The Olympic gold medalist Gal Al Yafai dropped and stopped Moises Calleros to move to 4-0 as a pro.
Gal Al Yafai brings the contest to an end.
Austin Williams marked his third appearance in the UK with an 8-round beatdown of River Wilson Bent. Ammo decked his man in the 7th before the towel came in a round later.
And here comes the towel.
Fabio Wardley was too fresh and too powerful for the experienced American Michael Coffey. Campbell Hatton delivered a body shot his old man would have been proud of to beat Louis Fielding in the opening round. And super featherweights Jordan Flynn and Kane Baker went toe-to-toe for 8 rounds before the unbeaten Oxford man Flynn took the honours on points. April the 8th, the Boeing Centre at Techport, San Antonio. Jesse Rodriguez successfully moved down in weight to land the vacant WBO flyweight title against Cristian Gonzalez, but paid a price. A broken jaw would keep Bam out for several months, meaning the planned summer unification showdown against Sonny Edwards would have to wait. Slick featherweight southpaw Raymond Ford navigated the step-up in class against Jesse Magdaleno, dropping the former world champion twice on the way to an impressive points win. Marlon Tapales stunned Murajan Akhmadaliev on a split decision to take the IBF and WBA World Super Bantamweight titles back to the Philippines and secure a lucrative 4-belt undisputed showdown with Naoya Inoue. Akhmadaliev's Uzbek compatriot Israel Madrimov had a more successful night, although taken the full 10 rounds by Rafael Igbokwe. And behind on all 3 scorecards going into the final round, Thomas Matisse forced a dramatic comeback stoppage against Ramiro Cesena.
Here comes Thomas Matisse! Matisse is rocking him! They stop it! Oh no! They stopped it! I don't believe it! It's over!
And there were eye-catching stoppages for 2 rising stars managed by Keith Connolly. Mark Castro and Khalil Coe were too good for Ricardo Lopez Torres and James Keita, respectively. April the 22nd, Utilita Arena in Cardiff. The politics of boxing came into play as Joe Cordina found himself challenging for his old belt against Shavkat Rakhimov. Home advantage was a factor as the partisan Cardiff crowd roared the Welsh wizard on to a split decision win, a second-round knockdown proving vital as Cordina became a 2-time IBF World Super Featherweight champion. Gavin Gwynn stopped Craig Woodruff in the Welsh Derby for the British lightweight title. Sandy Ryan won the WBO World Welterweight title with an impressive display to beat the Canadian Marie-Pierre Houle. Jordan Thompson sent Luke the Duke Watkins to the canvas twice on the way to retaining his IBF European Cruiserweight title in 6 rounds. And Sky Nicholson didn't drop around, dazzling against Linda Lara Lecker over 8. May the 6th, Estadio Akron, Jalisco. In the much-anticipated homecoming, Canelo Alvarez proved too much for the gutsy John Ryder in front of 50,000 fans on the outskirts of Guadalajara in his first fight in Mexico for 10 years. The Brit touched down in the 5th round but rallied to hear the final bell.
Canelo bounces off the rope, using it as a springboard, but he's not going down yet.
Michael Griffin taking a long look at John Ryder.
The guts on John Ryder.
Cesar El Rey Martinez made a successful defense of his WBC World Flyweight title against Ronald Batista, the end coming in the penultimate round.
Again, Batista.
Yeah, we saw those middle rounds. Batista coming forward now. He's firmly on the back foot.
Yeah.
Martinez is just teeing off.
He's in trouble. The referee's going to step in and stop it, and that is over.
Gabriel Golaz Valenzuela and Stevie Sparks' 10-round super lightweight showdown went to the wire, with the Mexican picking up a tight decision.
Gabriel Golaz Valenzuela.
Former WBC World Light Heavyweight Champion Alexander Gvozdyk continued his comeback, stopping Ricards Bolotniks in the 6th to make it 2 wins in 3 months on the back of a 3.5-year layoff. May the 20th, 3 Arena Dublin. Katie Taylor finally got her dream Dublin homecoming, which turned into a nightmare as Chantelle Cameron handed the Irish superstar her first defeat in the pro game. Il Capo stunned the home crowd with a split decision win to retain her undisputed title at £140.
She moved ahead of the line after she landed a shot. That's better. Better from Taylor. And again, getting behind their hero for one last surge.
And still, the undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, Chantelle Il Capo Cameron.
The Irish woes started in the chief support as Jose Felix created a huge upset against the previously unbeaten Nace puncher Gary Cully. The corner throwing in the towel in the 3rd round.
Has to hold on.
The towel in his hand. Still half a minute to go. He's there in his hand.
And the towel.
And the towel's come in.
The referee hasn't seen it.
The referee hasn't seen it.
He's got his back.
It wasn't all Irish heartbreak. Thomas Carty, Kevin Ajarko and Paddy Donovan all showed plenty of promise.
Onto the rope. Let's have a look at the corner. That was a good left hand from Paddy. Can he turn the screw? Can he go? This is good work. They're looking in the...
May the 27th, AO Arena, Manchester. Just 98 days on from that heavy defeat against Mauricio Lara, Leigh Wood put the demons to bed. After failing to make the weight the previous day, Lara surrendered his title on the scales, and Wood took his opportunity to regain the belt in masterful fashion. Lara was down in round 2 as a disciplined Wood stuck to the game plan to become a 2-time world champion. On his Matchroom debut, Jack Catterall glided to a decision over Dara Foley with 2 knockdowns in the process. Terry Harper made a successful first defence of her WBA World Super Welterweight title against Ivana Habazin.
Scrappy exchanges, the cleanest shots once again in this final round.
Champion of the world, Terry Belter Harper.
And William Croller, guided by his brother and former world champion Anthony, survived an early knockdown to get his arm raised on his debut against Joe Hardy.
Well, that's nice to see from...
Aqib Fiaz also rose from the canvas to forge a hard-fought win against Costin Yon, while Campbell Hatton picked up another stoppage win and Aaron Bowen banked 6 rounds.
And the legs of Nick Abdulik have completely gone here, and John Latham steps in out of nowhere. And the fight, just like that, is all over.
June the 10th, the OVO Arena, Wembley. Following a fiery fight week, Sonny Edwards retained his IBF World Flyweight title for the 4th time and on his Matchroom debut against Andres Campos.
Superb cluster of shots bouncing off the ropes by Edwards.
Showtime, Sonny Edwards.
Ellie Scottney realised a long-held dream as she dethroned Chinika Johnson to lift the IBF World Super Bantamweight title.
From range, accurate and clinical for the challenger.
In the weight division below, Nina Hughes proved to be too experienced for Katie Healy and took an emphatic decision to a successful first defence of the WBA World title.
Hands to the body, really turning through them. And again,
her head position's really good, Nina Hughes, when she throws that overhand right. She really dips.
Chev Clark showed why he's one of the most exciting cruiserweights out there, dropping David Jameson in the 4th and 5th rounds prior to another stoppage.
briefly exchange glances, and Bob Williams knows he has seen enough.
There were first round knockouts for the Romford Bull Johnny Fisher and young middleweight prospect George Liddard, and Shannon Ryan shone on her first outing under the Matchroom banner. June the 17th, the Smoothie King Center, New Orleans. Just 6 weeks after inking a promotional agreement with Eddie Hearn, the WBC World Super Lightweight Champion Regis Prograis laboured to a split decision win over Danielito Zorrilla.
Prograis changes the fight.
And still, the WBC Super Lightweight Champion of the World.
Alejandra Guzman scored a dramatic and heavy 8th round knockout to hand Ramla Ali the first defeat of her career.
Hands up until the last round where she landed some big left hooks that shook. Oh, down goes Ali and she is out!
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it.
Shakram Giyasov's second fight at 147 pounds and his first in over a year came against Harold Calderon, who was unbeaten in 27 at the time. And the Uzbek star known as Wonder Boy showed his class in winning over 12 rounds.
See that combination I was talking about that Giyasov has been setting up for multiple rounds.
Aaron Aponte was handed the first defeat of his career after being dragged into a dogfight by Xavier Madrid.
Madrid, but it did not stop him. He's still staying there.
And the talented Krzysztof Bazaldua made it back-to-back wins in the pro game, beating John Fruto over 4 rounds.
By unanimous decision, he's still undefeated.
June the 24th, the theatre at Madison Square Garden in New York. Matchroom secured the sought-after signature of Edgar Berlanga, and the super middleweight star was quickly steered into a headline slot against Jason Quigley, and Quigley was down 4 times as the monster produced a destructive performance.
That shouldn't have been a knockdown.
Joe Cusimano slugged his way to a brutal 8th round TKO over Adam Kovnacki. The win would later be overshadowed as Cusimano returned an adverse analytical finding as part of an anti-doping protocol from the New York State Athletic Commission that is still currently under investigation by the commission. The Albanian bear Reshat Mati put his injury worries behind him to stop the big punching Dakota Linga late on.
My word. Well, they're going to stop it. It is over. And finally, Rashad.
Khalil Ko and Banit Bisla exchanged a rare double knockdown before Ko upped the tempo in the 7th to hand Bisla his first loss.
To go in the 7th round. Referee's got to have a look at this double left hook. It is all over. And Khalil Ko moves to 6-0-1.
Dalton Smith secured the British super lightweight title outright and added the Commonwealth crown to his collection with a thunderous right hand to KO Sam Maxwell in 7. Tony Dixon retired at the end of the 4th following a knockdown from the explosive Pat McCormack, who moved to 5-0 as a pro.
Yep, towels in, Mike.
It was another impressive win for rising lead star Hopi Price, who moved a step closer to a shot at the British featherweight title with victory over James Beach Jr. The Beast, Beatriz Ferreira, marked her UK debut with a fine 8-rounder against Carla Ramos Zamora, who was fresh off a huge upset KO over Jessica Kamara. And the hot prospect Junaid Boston took a step up in class with ease as he outpointed Ryan Amos.
To solve a few problems, and he's done so well.
July the 7th, Cintimex, Monterrey. Diego Pacheco extended his unbeaten run to 19 as he halted Manuel Gallegos. A brutal body shot in the 4th set up an LA homecoming later in the year.
You can hear that one now. Nice. Blood on the face of Gallegos, but it's the shot to the body that sticks Pacheco all over him, and the referee jumps in, and
Great stoppage.
Diego Pacheco.
And Rocky Hernandez wasted little time in dealing with Hector Garcia Montes, a 3rd round knockout clearing the path to his mandatory shot at the WBC title.
How in the world is Garcia on his feet right now?
Oh, the referee to stop the fight.
That is it.
July the 15th, Masonic Temple, Detroit, Michigan. Alicia Baumgardner avenged her sole career defeat against Cristina Linedartu almost 5 years to the day after their first contest, the Bomb retaining her undisputed super featherweight title. Andy Cruz was matched aggressively for his professional debut, and the Cuban Olympic gold medal hero faced a veteran of 45 fights, the Mexican Juan Carlos Burgos, going the full 10 with a statement performance.
For sure, 10 seconds left.
Hey, I'd watch him fight William Zepeda one day.
Oh, that's how. Let me find out, Ty.
That'll do it. Andy Cruz in his professional debut.
And in his home state, Jermaine Franklin bounced back from that defeat against Anthony Joshua by outpointing Isaac Munoz over 10.
All three for your winner by unanimous decision, the 989 Assassin.
August the 12th, the O2 Arena in London. A second fight at the O2 in quick succession for Anthony Joshua, but the planned rematch against Dillian Whyte fell through at just 7 days' notice when the body snatcher failed a drug test. Having won a low-key fight a week earlier, Robert Helenius stepped in as the late substitute and suffered a devastating 7th-round knockout. Helenius would then also return a positive test in the aftermath. Filip Ergovic cemented his spot as mandatory challenger for the IBF World Heavyweight crown when he put in the first blemish on Dempsey McKean's record with a KO in the 12th and final round.
He's knocked out.
Seemed to crumble. He's holding on. He's absolutely gone.
He's gone.
Falls off the ropes, and referee Marcus McDonald starts the count, but very quickly ends the count.
Johnny Fisher marched to his first pro title, taking the Southern Area strap with a 7th-round finish over Harry Armstrong.
And there the blood just adding to the misery for Armstrong. And here now Johnny Fisher into the 7th round for the first time in his career, and in comes the towel.
Derek Chisora returned to winning ways with a unanimous decision over Gerald Washington. And Campbell Hatton, George Liddard, Brandon Scott and Maisie Rose Courtney all picked up unanimous decision victories. August the 19th, Utilita Arena in Birmingham. Olympic gold medalist Galal Yafai showed a gulf in class, dispatching the former British and Commonwealth champ Tommy Frank in the first round.
Process here. Galal Yafai straight on the front foot, looking for the big left hand. Good work with a right hand.
Inside somehow tries to avoid the oncoming onslaught, but time and again he's being caught. He's in with quality he's never faced before. The towel comes in just after halfway in the opening.
Conor Walker ruined Cyrus Pattinson's hopes of a huge northeast dust-up with Lewis Ritson, Walker winning in the 8th.
Who senses he can do this inside the distance, and Pattinson now on the ropes, he's rolling. Referee Michael Alexander taking a good look here. And they throw in the towel. Graham Rutherford has decided he wants Cyrus Pattinson to take no more. And the
Rummy heavyweight Sol Dakers eased to a 10-round points win against Chris Thompson.
Undefeated Solomon, the real deal Dakers.
Jordan Flynn and Kane Baker couldn't be split in their rematch. Another war, and this time a draw.
That uppercut has a whole new channel.
Khalil Majid battled to a wide decision on his Matchroom debut against Alessandro Fasula. Aaron Bowen continued his destructive start to life as a pro against Wilmer Maron.
Is down.
Ibrahim Spider Suleiman posted a brilliant stoppage on his debut.
Switch in, walks him onto a nice check. Right, the referee jumped in, he stopped it. What a fantastic debut.
And Muhammad Ali put in his best performance to date in making it 3 straight wins.
Impressive here, Ali. And the towel comes in. Ali registers his first stoppage.
September the 15th, Auditorio Municipal, Tijuana. Angel Fierro and Brian Zamaripa put it all on the line in an all-action 10-rounder which saw both men have success, with Fierro getting his arm raised by split decision.
Zamaripa in all sorts of trouble. Zamaripa's ready to go.
For your winner by split decision, and still the WBO and ABO.
With a fight brewing behind the scenes with Mayalin Rivas, Erika Cruz knew she had to be switched on for her fight with Melissa Odessa Parker, and that she was.
Out here in the closing minutes. What a fight!
Fed Pacheco, the younger brother of super middleweight star Diego, showed he can pack a punch of his own, dispatching Carlos Cardenas in 3 rounds.
Showing lots of bravery getting off the canvas after a nasty body shot.
Go right back and touch that body. There you go.
2 of them, and down goes Cardenas in a heap.
Sky Nicholson's victory over Sabrina Maribel Perez was overshadowed by the unfortunate conclusion of the fight, which saw Perez's trainer and husband Diego Arrua fall ill in the corner. He subsequently died in hospital. Our thoughts remain with Sabrina. Rest in peace, Diego. September the 23rd, Caribe Royale Orlando in Florida. Super lightweight Richardson Hitchens continued his climb in the 140-pound division, defeating the former world title challenger Jose Cepeda wide across the cards.
Beautiful 1-2 right there by Hitchens, and still has the frame of mind and discipline to back up.
Richardson Hitchens.
In the much anticipated return of Conor Benn, he went the 10-round distance with Rodolfo Orozco.
And a left hook, and how does Rodolfo Orozco continue to take these?
Sandy Ryan and Jessica McCaskill fought out a draw in their undisputed welterweight showdown.
95-95, we have a split draw.
And Austin Williams passed his toughest test to date. The one-time Gennady Golovkin opponent Steve Rolls was beaten over the 10-round distance.
Cards could potentially be very interesting in this one. Ammo Williams trying to make certain that he puts this round in the bank.
September the 30th, OVO Arena, Wembley. Unbeaten Australian Jai Opataya put his name firmly up in lights with a one-sided crushing of Jordan Thompson to retain his IBF and Ring Magazine cruiserweight belts, some way to mark his Matchroom debut.
Looks on, and that's it. That's the end of the challenge of Jordan Thompson.
Ellie Scotney made a successful first defence of her IBF World Super Bantamweight title against Lara Soledad Griffer and made it clear she wants to unify the division next. Chev Clark stepped up to fight the durable Vasil Dutsar. The fight saw C4 pick up his first professional title, the IBF European ranking belt, with an eye on the British in 2024.
Just doesn't want to smother his work. Just use those feet again, skip side to side, nice right.
Rhiannon Dixon added the European lightweight strap to her Commonwealth honours, outpointing the experienced Katarina Tanders by 100 points to 90 across all 3 scorecards.
And the new European lightweight champion, Rhiannon Dixon.
Maisie Rose Courtney, Ibrahim Suleiman, Shannon Ryan and George Liddard all banked learning valuable rounds, and there was a debut knockout for Jimmy Sains.
He's going to work here, Mike. He looks good. The referee's jumped in. Good finish by Jimmy Sains.
October the 7th, Utilita Arena, Sheffield. What an atmosphere in Sheffield as the neutral venue was split in 2 between fans from Nottingham and Leeds as Leigh Wood defended the WBA featherweight title against Josh Warrington. And it was the champions fans who went home happy after his dramatic 7th round comeback KO. Wood was behind on all 3 scorecards at the time. Shortly afterwards, he vacated the belt to move up to super featherweight in the hope of landing a super fight at the City Ground in 2024. Terry Harper and Cecilia Brækhus couldn't be separated as their two-belt world title tussle ended in a draw.
Good finish from the Norwegian, but a good fight here in Sheffield.
Closing stages and one of the better rounds of the...
Kieran Conway earned a shot at the British middleweight title as Linus Udofia sustained an eye injury to bring their eliminator to a premature end.
But that looks like that has pretty much closed. And referee Howard Foster decides...
Opie Price locked in his mandatory status for the British featherweight title with a last round stoppage over Conor Coghill. The celebrations were on hold, however, as a bleed to Coghill's brain would cut short the Hull man's career. Our best wishes go out to Conor as he carves out a career beyond the ring. Junaid Boston showed why he's one of the brightest prospects in the country, handling the step-up against Corey McCulloch. And Cameron Vong started life under trainers Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis with an impressive stoppage against Angel Gomez on his debut.
Stops the tough Angel Gomez. Beautiful right uppercut. The Nicaraguan, tough as old boots usually, drops.
October the 21st, the M&S Bank Arena, Liverpool. Jack Catterall was a class act as he outpointed the three-weight world champion Jorge Linares to make it back-to-back wins since that controversial loss to Josh Taylor. Decorated amateur Peter McGrail captured his first belt, the WBA Continental Super Bantamweight title, ending Fran Mendoza's 17-fight unbeaten streak. Reece Bellotti overpowered Akib Fiaz late on to take home the Commonwealth Super Featherweight crown and cement a shot at the British title sometime in 2024.
He needs more, we can't be getting backed up and outlanded it.
He had a torrid time in his last fight against Costas Young, and now it's trouble again for Fiaz at the end of this, the 8th round, and in comes the towel.
Jamie Sampson was disqualified against Campbell Hatton, thrown out for persistent holding in the last of 8 rounds. And Khalid Majid eventually broke down the resistance of Tom Farrell in the 6th.
He goes down and referee Steve Gray decides this time he has to come to the rescue.
28th of October, Polyforum Benito Juarez, Cancun. Matchroom's first show in Cancun proved to be every bit as wild as it promised. A sensational WBC Super Featherweight title clash between defending champion O'Shaki Foster and the mandatory challenger Rocky Hernandez ebbed and flowed throughout. With a round of the year contender in the 11th, the fight was called off with just seconds remaining in the 12th, Foster getting the stoppage when behind on 2 of the cards.
Hernandez all over the place.
The champion got to keep pressing, but Rocky got to hold on. Rocky don't know how to hold on.
He doesn't want to hold on.
He has to.
Foster
He has to.
goes for it. He has closed the show.
Eduardo Sugar Nunez again showed why he's one of the most feared men in the same super featherweight division by racking up his 25th KO in as many wins, this time taking out Oscar Escandon early to put himself in contention for a world title shot in 2024. And the Australian heavyweight Justice Hooney finally made his Matchroom bow, outpointing Andrew Tabiti.
Beautiful counter, and that one is excited. The Tabiti corner. Hooney trying to battle back as he rips shots to the body.
November the 4th, the Casino de Monte Carlo in Monaco. After a 4-year absence, the Matchroom World Tour returned to the glitz and glamour of Monte Carlo for the latest edition of the Boxing Bonanza series in partnership with SBM. Joe Cordina showed grit as well as skill to edge past the tricky Texan Edward Vazquez by split decision in defense of his IBF Super Featherweight title.
And still, the IBF Super Featherweight Champion of the World.
And just 147 days on from a crushing first career defeat, Ramla Ali jumped straight into a rematch against Alejandra Guzman, winning by 6 rounds to 4 on all cards.
WBA International Super Bantamweight Champion
Adrienne Curiel found the punch of a lifetime to shock Sivanati Nonshinga and take the IBF World Light Flyweight title back to Mexico. The pair are scheduled to run it back in February of 2024.
It's over. He timed it as Nonshinga was making his way around the ring, and the referee has waved it off.
French welterweight Sully Sissoko proved too much for the brave Isaias Lucero. The Mexican touched down in the second as Sissoko retained his WBC silver title. November the 11th, Utilita Arena, Newcastle. 2 headline fights featuring first Cyrus Pattinson and then Pat McCormack fell through, so the Next Gen series parked up in the Northeast once again with plenty of local talent in action. 3 weeks later than originally planned, Shabazz Massoud recovered from illness to nick a narrow split decision against Jose San Martin in the main event. An all-action eliminator for the English super welterweight title opened our main broadcast, and the much-fancied Ishmael Davis proved too much for Ewan McKenzie as his coach Dave Ritson threw in the towel. Callum French suffered the first defeat of his pro career to the determined Jeff Ofori. French blamed his performance on inactivity, but the Londoner Ofori deserved all the plaudits. Middleweight Mark Dickinson continued his quest towards domestic titles by halting the experienced Grant Dennis in 5.
The referee looks very carefully at him and decides he can't.
Cameron Vong banked a useful 6 rounds along the way.
Cameron Vong, this is good stuff.
And Jimmy Sains made it back-to-back knockouts since turning over.
He's under the real cosh here. The left to the body, the referee's having a real look, and he jumps in. The referee's seen enough.
November the 18th, YouTube Theatre, Los Angeles. Super middleweight talent Diego Pacheco extended his unbeaten record to 20, pummeling Marcelo Caceres with a peach of an uppercut in the 9th.
Caceres felt that one, and the crowd coming alive. A beautiful uppercut sends Caceres to the canvas.
Caceres didn't see that punch coming. Right under the chin. Right on the money. 9, 10.
That is it.
Erika Cruz became a 2-division world champion as she edged past Mayalin Rivas on points to win the WBA World Super Bantamweight title.
Right now, catch it coming in.
Shot there.
And the new WBA Super Bantamweight champion.
The curtain came down on Cal Yafai's wonderful career after a shock first-round defeat at the hands of Jonathan Rodriguez. And there were early nights for Mark Castro, Jalen Walker and Krzysztof Bazaldua, all preserving their unbeaten records.
That's gonna Basil do it. Krzysztof Bazaldua.
25th of November, 3 Arena, Dublin. 6 months on from their first fight, Katie Taylor made it one apiece with Chantelle Cameron, becoming a 2-weight undisputed champion. Will we see the rubber match in 2024?
In the corner, they're driving her forward into the last 40 seconds. What a fight, and what a night, and what a comeback by Katie Taylor.
We're winning. And the new undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, Katie Taylor.
Gary Cully revived his career with a new training team, taking a split decision against Reese Mould.
Yet another attack. Cully takes the shot well.
Paddy Donovan showed talent in abundance with a 4th-round stoppage against Danny Ball.
One special. Brilliantly timed left hand. And somehow
Sky Nicholson retained her WBC interim featherweight title against Lucy Wildheart, winning inside schedule for the first time.
And the towel has come in, away from the view of the referee who sees it now.
Irish heavyweight hope Thomas Carty eventually got to Dan Garber in the 8th and final round of what was a messy affair.
But the referee decides he's got nothing left to give. And so
and Giorgio Visioli started life as a pro with a devastating knockout. December the 2nd, the SSE Arena in Belfast. A stellar start to the final month of the year saw our first visit to Belfast since the Ryan Burnett days. Michael Conlan and Jordan Gill took centre stage with their careers seemingly on the line, and it proved to be an impressive away win for the Thrill. He floored Conlan in the second and stopped him in the 7th.
And you can see Gill is looking for the knockout. He's confident, oh, here he goes now. He's probably confident of getting the knockout, but he has to make sure he's still winning the rounds as well. Here he's Michael's hurt again, punch on the back of the head, goes to the body, punch over, goes down, stop it, from Jordan Gill, and the referee steps in, and Michael Conlan.
Rising star Lewis Crocker sent Tyrone McKenna into retirement following a 10-round war at welterweight.
And what sort of response now will we see from Crocker?
I like the way Crocker's poking out the right hand.
After months of social media exchanges between them, Kevin Ajako got the nod over Troy Williamson.
From Belfast,
Sean McComb dropped Sam Maxwell 3 times on the way to the best win of his career.
The brink of winning the fight. Oh, it's a lovely left hand.
Beautifully timed. Right.
And Cameron Vong made it 3 wins from 3 fights in 3 months.
Oh, he's going through the gears now.
And Dufek doesn't have the answers, and the referee decides it's time to step in the early stages of round number 4.
December the 9th, Chase Center, San Francisco. Big time boxing was back in the Bay Area as Devin Haney moved up in weight to secure 2-division world champion status. He produced a masterclass to take the WBC super lightweight title from Regis Prograis. After a year out, Liam Paro took out his frustrations on Montana Love with a savage 6-round demolition.
Dropped Love with an uppercut. Here to win. Come in here and knock him out. Beautiful left hook. Oh, he scorched him again. Upstairs and downstairs. Love fighting back off the ropes. There you go. That's a nice body shot. The uppercut's there, guys. Same punch gonna land right now. Left uppercut. Watch out right here. And that's it. Don't stop it. He came from a...
Mio Yoshida shocked Ebony Bridges to take home the IBF World Bantamweight title with a convincing points win.
And a new IBF Bantamweight champion of the world.
Olympic gold medalist Andy Cruz sent a powerful message to the lightweight division, bulldozing through Giovanni Straffon in 3 rounds.
We're getting closer and closer to stopping this fight. This is the Andy Cruz that Chris Mannix wanted to see, and he's giving you what you want, Chris, and that'll do it.
And there was another stoppage for the beast from Brazil as Beatriz Ferreira dispatched Destiny Jones in the 8th and final round.
If anyone knows Destiny Jones, who's a trainer, David Watson, they got like a father-daughter relationship. Oh!
They're going to wave it off.
December the 16th, Desert Diamond Arena, Glendale, Arizona. It was months and months in the making, and Jesse Bam Rodriguez returned from a broken jaw to unify the WBO and IBF World Flyweight titles, handing Sonny Edwards the first defeat of his career.
For the first time in his career, Sonny Edwards goes down! Face first, gone down, but there's still fight in his eye. He's still getting up. The stool hasn't been there the entire fight.
We talked about this a few rounds ago. They're going to wave it off.
And that's it! Bam Rodriguez, the king of the flyweights!
Other flyweight action on the card saw Gal Al Yafai go 10 rounds with Rocco Santamaro defending his WBC international title in the process. Murajon Akhmadaliev locked in a shot at the WBA World Super Bantamweight title, taking out the previously unbeaten Kevin Gonzalez in their final eliminators.
And that is a knockdown. Still plenty of time in this round. He goes down. Will they call it a knockdown? They will, but it looked like a slip.
It looked like a slip. That's one single bomb. That's
oh, there was the uppercut. He should wave it off right now. Gonzalez, give him credit for getting back up.
All right, but what are we doing here? Right, this kid is beaten down. Stop the fight.
And that is it.
Was fiery in the build-up, and Junaid Boston and Gordy Russ certainly backed up their pre-fight chat with a chaotic 8-rounder won by the Englishman on his US debut. Despite being dropped twice early on and comfortably behind on the scorecards, Jerika O'Quinn landed one of the comeback knockouts of the year, sending the much-fancied Peter McGrail to the canvas in round 5, a shock of the year contender for sure. Peter's brother Joe did come away with a win, hurting Edgar Ortiz to the body multiple times in the 2 rounds the fight lasted.
Boy, that'll work too. Forget about the looping right hand. It was all about the left hooks to the body.
December the 23rd, Kingdom Arena, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The day of reckoning finally arrived, and Anthony Joshua delivered what was ranked as his best performance of the year, enforcing the retirement of Otto Wallin by his corner at the end of the 5th.
Can he be that ferocious finisher that he used to be? Chris Mannix nods his head, yes.
That sounds familiar.
There's the right hook.
In the shots at all. Fantastic stuff from Anthony Joshua.
That left hook rocked Wallin out around the temple.
The talk had been of Joshua against Deontay Wilder in March of this year, until Wilder came up short against Joseph Parker. Wilder was dismal, but Parker and trainer Andy Lee had a plan, and a confident mix of patience and aggression secured a famous win for Parker and put him firmly back into world title contention.
Joseph Parker delivered.
Dimitri Bivol added the IBO belt to his WBA world title with a dominant display over Lyndon Arthur. Bivol has made it clear he wants to unify all the light heavyweight belts in 2024.
Arthur, to his credit, is going to go 12 full rounds with one of the best pound-for-pound fighters.
They call him the best cruiserweight on the planet, and Jai Opetaia backed up the pre-fight hype when he poleaxed the overmatched Ellis Zorro with a thunderous left hand close to the end of the opening round. Daniel Dubois and Jarrell Miller put it all on the line for 10 rounds in a fight that saw both men have success. Dynamite eventually lived up to his nickname, getting Big Baby out in the final round.
Brooklyn beat down